The nose stall is a really important trick to learn on a ramp because it helps you get used to the feeling of being up on top of the deck. With some stalls, you can sort of ride in like this, touch the coping, and come back in with your body completely leaning inside the ramp. And it helps a lot with tricks you'll learn later to get used to being up on top of the coping completely. So what you need to do is drop in with your front foot solidly on the nose somewhere. It doesn't need to be in a pop position or anything like that. It's nice and stable. And pump. You need some speed for this trick, and it helps if you have too much speed at first, because what happens if you have too much speed is you come up and you keep going and you step off. If you don't have enough speed, you're here, you try to get the board to touch, it doesn't quite make it, the board shoots out and you fall forward. So it's a lot better to have too much and try to work down than to go start too slow and try to work your way up. So the main problem people have with this trick is that they don't keep their back straight. So they try to come up and stall like this. And they have the speed, they're just not vertical, their backs aren't vertical. And the way that I figured out how to get this trick to work was to pretend there was no ramp. I was pretending there was like a curb. You know, if you're skating a curb, you know, you don't hit the side of the curb, then do that. You know, that it doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing with your ramp. You start on the flat bottom, and here's your coping. The thing you're doing is you're jumping up and landing up in a nose stall on the coping. And that way, you're not trying to ride the transition and then stop and come back. You're just going to go straight up and hit it. That's the best way to try this trick. Now, when you start to go up the transition, the board will tilt because it's going up the transition. So you have to start to put weight on the nose. And the more weight you put on the nose, the slower it feels like you're going, because you're starting to do this, so the nose is going back down some, you know. So you start to put weight on the nose, and if you get the timing right, you land up in the nose stall. That part is all about timing, about balance. It depends on the kind of ramp you have, you know, how tight the transition is and all that. So that's going to take some experimentation, but just getting up in the nose stall really shouldn't give you that much trouble. Alright, now hopefully you've got the speed figured out where you actually stay here and you don't have to step off. If you step off, it's no big deal. You can just step back on and try to land it anyway. But the thing is, to land the nose stall, you have to drop in switch. Now, landing a nose stall isn't as hard as dropping in switch, because it's the same as trying to set your board here, then stand on it and try to drop in like that, as opposed to a rock fakie. You know, you were just inside the ramp. You were just like this. You just sort of rock on it and come back in. You know, it's not the same as trying to drop in switch. So the main thing you have to do is to just go quickly. Don't, you know, land the nose stall, slide the board a little bit, set your foot up, get ready, look, and then go for it, because then it will be just like trying to drop in a switch. You just want to come up, touch the nose down, maybe count out a second or a half second or so, and then just go for it. And if you do that, if you just keep your momentum going and you just go for it, that'll help a lot. Now, one thing that's pretty popular to do with a nose stall, something that's not too hard, is to add a revert to it. And it depends a lot on your ramp, exactly how to do it. With this one, it's pretty tacky, I guess. It's kind of sticky, so I have to spin most of the way in the air and try to land in a slight pivot. But if you've got a skate park, you're riding on skate light or polished cement or something like that, the thing you have to do is just start to spin some and get this truck to start to slide down. It's not that hard to get the full slide if you've got a ramp like that. But the thing you want to do is to make sure this truck starts sliding, and then shift your weight to the back truck. And if you've got something really slick, and that's not a big problem. But with something like this, you want to make sure to have your weight on the tail, because you've still got your back foot like this on the tail. So you start the slide, you can just sort of shift your weight and pull it around from there. You can also do them the same way front side, which I've got one in there for you to see too. When you go up for the no stall, you want to sort of turn. You know, if you're going up, you're going to do a backside revert. You come up like this, you know, and keep your shoulders going that way. Same as a rock and roll, you know. So you just get up and you want to sort of scoop the nose around some. That trick is mostly experimentation. It's the same as trying to get the timing right. Depends on how steep your ramp is, how tight the transition is, all that stuff. But that's something that's not too hard to add on to your nose stall when you've got those down. So go outside and try them out.